Digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. Affiliates across the country, including ATL FM in Cape Coast, Radio Max in Takrady, and A1 Radio in Bolgatanga. We are around the world at myjoyonline.com. In this edition, police in the Volta region stormed communities in the North Tongue constituency to fish for more members of separatist group involved in last Friday's revolt.
Friday dawn, our office was invaded by people who are alleged to this Western Togoland. They broke to our offices and make away computers, routers, and a whole lot of stuff.
We are live on the ground as it emerges. The group is affiliated to an international body, the Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organization.
Indeed, if you go to the report of so-called Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organization 2017, they are adopting this group.
We have details. Also, two presidential contenders, Nana Akufo-Addo and John Mahama, hit the campaign trail. We'll bring you details from the Ashanti region and Bono region where they are headed. Also, contempt case against Asin Central MP Kennedy Ejapong put on hold as his lawyers say he's suffering from COVID-19 complications.
The rule of law is all we need to guide everything. We'll come back on the day the court has agreed that we come. But everything is fine and there should be no trouble or unnecessary speculation.
We have details as the court orders that the doctor treating him appears before it to explain what exactly the MP is suffering from. In sports,
Ghana FA outlines COVID-19 protocols at match venues ahead of the start of the Ghana Premier League.
And later, Holy Child School beats Kintampo SHS and Seeded School Otibuating to qualify to the quarterfinals of the National Science and Maths Quiz.
Well, this contest was cool, it was fine, it was interesting. And we hope to win the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and take the cup home.
We have that and more in this edition of the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. Details shortly. Thanks for your company. Let's settle for the details now. And this afternoon, joining us is learning of an alleged police raid in the North Tongue constituency, precisely Mefe, Bato, and Avaima in the Volta region. The raid, we understand from our sources, is to find persons believed to be involved in last Friday's revolt, which involved blocking of roads leading to the region, laying siege at a police station, injuring policemen, and stealing rifles. The group laid a siege at a police station, and then at the Western Togoland, a restoration front explained the action is to demand a split from Ghana. A member of the group was killed following a gun exchange with the police. Already, chiefs and people of B, Hohoi, Alavanyo, and Alon traditional areas have jointly condemned Friday's civil disturbances in the Volta region. Now, the chiefs who have disassociated themselves from the incident are urging the security agencies and government to deal ruthlessly with persons involved. The chief of B, Abansi, Togbi Ajima, the fifth, addressed the media on behalf of traditional authorities in Hohoi.
We, the chiefs, elders, and the entire citizenry, with our friend settler communities within the Bean traditional area, do not condone this act of illegality and vandalism being perpetrated by this group. It is an undeniable fact that Bean Hogwe, since independence, had been part of the Volta region of Ghana. It is therefore unfortunate and unacceptable for a group of people with their selfish agenda to destabilize the peace and harmony prevailing in Bean Hogwe and for that matter Volta region and Ghana. We also call on government and the security agencies to tighten up their security networks to be in a position to prevent this group of people from entering our traditional area.
That's the chief of Biagbansi, Togbe Ajima, the fifth. Now, let's get the latest on the police raid from correspondent Ivy Setoji, who is at Bato as we speak. Ivy, what exactly have you picked up since you got there?
Okay, so currently at Bato, and what we learned was some police officers, that's the formed police unit, were in town to question people who went to their houses. We don't know if it is true, but that is what the residents have learned. Now we go to the district assembly where we realize that the assembly has been closed down. No worker was found there, only the security. We saw that yesterday too, and today too, we were there and we saw the same thing. The DC spoke to us and said that they were not able to go to work because the people broke in to the various offices and took some valuables away. So right now, this is what is the current situation here in North Tongue District.
Well, before we hear from the district's chief executive, so give us clarity on the closure of the district assembly office. Who closed it down and for what reason?
Right now, we don't really know who closed it down, whether it is the police or the national security. We really don't know. But what we hear is that the place is closed down for the meantime for investigations to continue. We didn't see any worker there, so offices were broke in, the doors are open, so that was what happened. So right now we don't know who really ordered it to be closed.
Well, so you've been interacting with the district chief executive and other authorities since you've been to Bato. Tell us a bit more about what they've been telling you.
Yeah, for the MP for Northton who took us there yesterday, he said that the situation was terrible and they need government to act fast. Now the DCE is saying that they really don't know what to do right now because some valuables were stolen or were taken by these people, and so they are waiting on the authorities to tell them when to go back to work.
The security personnel are solid on the ground. They are doing all the intelligence, gathering all the intelligence to really apprehend these perpetrators of these heinous crimes, and I believe in the shortest possible time you'll be hearing from us as the days unfold, as the necessary step that we are taking as a district to ensure that people have their livelihood, and that people have a free movement without any restriction. And I believe that's the best we can do. The national security has said earlier, solid on the ground, and they are really mapping on the necessary strategies to ensure that the security of the district have been secured and to ensure that here we are at peace.
That's the DCE for Northton, Collins Richard Asher there, and my colleague Ivy Setoji is on the ground and will bring us more in our subsequent bulletins. Meanwhile, a security analyst has rubbished government claims that the incident was not an intelligence failure. His comment comes after some government officials deny the claims. Colonel Festus Abuaji, however, says there was an intelligence failure. He spoke on Prime Morning on the Joy Prime channel.
There was a clear intelligence failure. Now, what we cannot determine is at what stage in the cycle, which is about 6 or 7 steps, that the authorities failed to detect that a certain group was preparing to carry out activities. So I would agree with anybody who argues that there was an intelligence failure in very clear terms, and there shouldn't be any ambiguities about.
That's Colonel Festus Abuaji is a security analyst. In a related development, MP for Equiapim South and Deputy Local Government Minister Obi Amwa has revealed that the group is affiliated to an international body, the Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organization, or UNPO for short. We'll hear from him shortly, but first here's a short new desk report on this organization.
According to information available on its website, the Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organization, or UNPO, is an international membership-based organization established to empower the voices of unrepresented and marginalized peoples worldwide and to protect their fundamental human rights. It was conceived in the late 1980s by exiled leaders of people living under communist oppression and formally founded in February 1991 at the Peace Palace in The Hague by representatives of movements belonging to Australian Aboriginals, the Greek minority in Albania, Tibet, Zanzibar, among others. The UNPO says its members are all united by one shared condition. They are denied equal representation in the institutions of national or international governance. The UNPO is primarily funded by its members and says as a result, it is able to address issues that often remain hidden because UNPO has the freedom to raise issues that others cannot due to political or funding constraints. It claims its membership has grown steadily from its original founders to over 300 million people lacking true representation in domestic or international forums. It further adds that since its founding, many members have achieved their movement's goals and found a formal seat for their people at the national or international level and have thus left the organization as their peoples are no longer considered to be unrepresented.
Now we can hear from the Deputy Local Government Minister Obi Amwa, who spoke earlier on Newsfile.
And this group has international connections.
International connections?
Yes, I'm surprised you may not even know. This group has international connections. National security is aware of all these things. Indeed, if you go to the report of so-called Unrepresented Nations and People's Organization 2017, they are adopting this group, saying that they are being marginalized, they are under siege by government since 2017, so they have to represent them as people without nation, and they have a right to be on their own because the plebiscite was not properly done.
Now, the Deputy Local Government Minister and MP for Equiapim South, Mr. Obi Amwa. Well, the MP for Tamale North, Al-Hassan Suini, says President Akufo-Addo's credibility as ECOWAS chairman will be called into question if he does not address the situation.
It is important that we listen to, we hear from the president. And your question is apt about the expectation of the president in the issues in Mali and how this issue in his own backyard can make it impossible for him to have any credibility to deal with the issues in Mali if he is not able to deal, creditably well with what is happening in his own backyard. So that is why it is important that he speaks with us.
Okay. Now the MP for Tamale North, Al-Hassan Suhini. We hit the campaign trail now because the presidential aspirants of the NPP and NDC are taking their messages to Ashanti and Bono regions. Let's start with the president, who's been calling on the Asantehene today. Prince Appiah is there for us. He joins us on the line. Prince, what issues were raised at this meeting?
Emefa, the president just took to the podium to speak. He hasn't made any significant statement yet. He's now exchanging pleasantries and greeting Otumfuo and the chief here. But earlier, before he got here, he visited some projects of the One District, One Factory. So he went to the Unity factory, and he also went to inspect the ongoing expansion of the Kumasi airport, and now here at the Minsha where the Deba has started. So he just started speaking, and whatever he says, we definitely bring it to listeners.
So prior to this Deba and this meeting with the Asantehene Otumfuo State, I'm sure residents have been speaking about their expectations. What exactly have they been telling you?
Of course, the expectation of the people here is that more development should be done even before the December 7 election. So the expectation is that more projects, more short curtains should be done here.
That's my colleague Prince Appiah joining us from the Mainshia Palace. We'll be monitoring that meeting and bring you more on that. This is your election headquarters. And we turn our attention now to the NDC flag bearer, John Mahama. You recall he cut short his visit to the Bono region last week. Now he's returned to the region to continue that campaign. My colleague Precious Semevo will join us shortly with the latest on that tour. So he cut short that, campaign tour and came to Accra on voter exhibition irregularities that he describes it, and mentioned that he would not accept the results of a flawed election. Precious Semevo has joined us with the latest on his tour. So Precious, bring us up to speed on Mr. Mahama's tour.
Yes, so Mr. Mahama returned to the Bono region, and then he was welcomed by thousands of NDC supporters at Bato near Brekum in the Brekum East, for instance. Actually, that is not where Mr. Mahama was starting his campaign tour of the Bono region. He was just passing through, but thousands of fans had to meet him. But he managed to pass through and then went to Sefa in the time constituency, where he attended the Deba of our chiefs and people of our Sefa. Now, the chief promised that due to his humility, they are going to play their part to ensure that Mr. Mahama returns to government. But on his part, he has also been assuring them that many of the projects that he started that have been left in the bush, it is by divine intervention that he will come back to ensure that those projects are completed. As I said to you, we are at Brekum, where he's actually coming to Brekum, to the palace of the Brekum of Manhattan. Again, he'll be attending a deba of the chiefs and people here. He's now coming in, and I can tell you that there are thousands and thousands of supporters here in Brekum to welcome Mr. John Dramani Mahama.
That's my colleague Precious Emefa bringing us up to speed on the campaign trail of the former President John Mahama in the Bono region. And the opposition NDC continues to hound the Electoral Commission over voter registration anomaly. So the latest complaint is Tamale North Member of Parliament Al-Hassan Suhini, who argues that the Electoral Commission poses a nonchalant attitude to serious issues raised. According to him, over 400 registrants in one electoral area in his constituency were all branded females during the exhibition. To him, the EC's posture further diminishes their hope in them to provide a reliable register for the December election.
The people of Ghana voted about $150 million for this exercise. So when you have problems in this exercise, and the best justification you get from people in charge is that it has happened before, then you wonder, if the assurances they gave us in relation to the fact that this was going to be a better system, for which we spent more money than we have ever spent before in compiling a voter register, then you begin to wonder if we have gone or we have come. In my constituency alone, at one particular polling station in Balai, everybody on the register was designated female. How is it that a system that is supposed to be better, even at a time that we all know that it was risky for us to compile this register, how will such a system, produce a result like that?
That's the Tamale North MP Al-Hassan Suhini speaking on the AM show earlier today. However, Director of Electoral Services at the EC, Dr. Sribo Kweku, says only an insignificant number of missing names are yet to be retrieved. He, however, shows the situation is being addressed. Meanwhile, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Madam Jean Mensah, says the systems put in place for the conduct of the 2020 polls are so stringent, no one can manipulate the polls. She says the political parties have been involved in the processes in such a manner that all parties and the EC are on one page at all times. She was speaking at the launch of the 2020 Agent of Peace campaign, an initiative of the Church of Pentecost in Ghana.
Though the impression is often created that the EC takes decisions on its own, this is not the case. There's a tendency for citizens to believe that the Electoral Commission can manipulate the election. I'm here to announce that this is impossible. It behoves political parties, therefore, to join hands with us to educate the citizens on the operations and activities of the Commission.
That's the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah. And that's it for the election headquarters this afternoon on the Midday News. We turn our attention to other stories now because lawyers for Asin Central MP Kennedy Ejapong says he's suffering from complications from the post-COVID-19 condition he suffered last month. Now, this was the justification for the legislator's absence in court this morning. Mr. Ejapong's lawyers were to explain to the court why he should not be severely punished for some comments he made against the judge. But the case had to be adjourned since Mr. Ejapong was absent. Court correspondent Joseph Akable joins me in studio with more. Joseph, tell us more about this post-COVID-19 condition Mr. Ejapong's lawyer spoke about.
So according to lead counsel for Mr. Ejapong, Kwame Jan, he says last month Mr. Ejapong suffered from COVID-19. He was treated and recovered, but over the weekend he developed some complications arising from that particular situation, and so he's unable to attend to the court today. He informed the court that the same doctor who treated him and he recovered is treating him once again, and so he attached a note from that doctor and handed it over to the court. A member of his legal team, Afenyo Markin, has been speaking to the press. He says he doesn't want any unnecessary speculations.
We would not escalate matters. There is a trial going on. Parties are having a healthy exchange. There is a healthy exchange between the bar and the bench. We have had a healthy engagement, and we would want to maintain that. At the end of the day, it is one country we have, and the rule of law is all we need to guide everything. We'll come back on the day the court has agreed that we come. But everything is fine, and there should be no trouble or unnecessary speculation. The court must be respected. The honorable member of parliament must also be respected. Partisan politics cannot be the solution in a legal matter, or that an attempt to create a partisan situation around a matter that a court is dealing with will not help. That is why all of us are conducting ourselves in a manner that would ensure that the right things are done.
Well, so the judge wants the doctor treating him to appear. What informed this directive, Joseph?
He says it has to do with the manner by which excuse duties are issued in this country. And so once it has been attached, he wants the doctor to come to the court on Thursday to speak to the report and explain what exactly the condition is, for which reason they are asking him to stay away from the court for 14 days.
So post-COVID-19 complications,
yes.
After getting COVID last month.
Yes, the complications arising from it.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's the court correspondent, Joseph Okable, bringing us details from today's proceedings. Now, the minority in Parliament says the Audit Service has breached the law establishing Auditor General's office by not submitting its 2019 report to Parliament 6 months after the year ended. They blame the situation on President Akufo-Addo's decision to direct the Auditor General to go on leave. Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu alleges the directive and subsequent inability to submit the report is part of the NPP government attempt to cover up corruption in the administration.
What he is required and obliged to do under the Constitution to submit a report on time to Parliament, that constitutional right is held in breach. And that is what we are particularly drawing your attention to. The Auditor General has labored to ensure that all reports are submitted to Parliament within the statutory time limits as I've indicated. It is therefore sad, indeed sad, and we have cause to blame executive interference and executive intrusion that the said report for 2019 is not before Parliament.
Now, my colleague Joseph Opoku-Gakpo joins us live from that press briefing. Joseph, so what else has the minority leader been saying? So there's a breach. Did they say what they're going to do about it?
Well, he's been calling on the president to direct the Auditor General go ahead and submit that report to Parliament urgently. He's also been directing his request to the Auditor General himself, particularly the acting Auditor General, to, as a matter of urgency, submit the said report to Parliament. I asked about whether the minority will be ready to directly communicate these concerns to the Auditor General. And from the minority behind Nigeria, doing any such thing will amount to interference in the work of the Auditor General. So they won't do that, and they hope that through the media, the Auditor General and the President will get wind of their concerns and rectify the said breach in the Constitution, the Audit Service Act.
That's my colleague Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, the Midday News. We'll take a quick break. Our top stories: police in the Volta region stormed communities in the North Tongue constituency to fish for more members of separatist group involved in last Friday's revolt. When we return, we have sports, and then also Holy Charles Hill beats Kintampo SHS and Seeded School Otibuatin to qualify to the quarterfinals of the National Science and Maths Quiz.
Well, this contest was cool. It was fine. It was interesting. Very, yeah, and we hope to win the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and take the cup home.
And what a sporting weekend it was. Huntsman Sando has a very
bad news on the boxing side of things for Ghana. Duke Micah losing his fight against John Real Casimero. But in football, we are preparing for the restart of the Ghana Premier League. Kicks off in November, and the Ghana Football Association will fumigate Ghana Premier League match venues as part of a number of measures put in place to ensure public safety. Here is the GFA's Communications Director, Henry Asantichum.
Sure, before the start of the season, fumigation will take place. After every game, we'll also make sure fumigation, is done at all the league centers. You talk about league centers that host more than one club, but they don't play the games at the same time. They play at different intervals. So it is non-negotiable. We cannot bypass that. We cannot sidestep that because it is science. It is something we have agreed to do. It is something that will inure to our benefit. You cannot do without fumigation. You cannot do without testing. You cannot do without washing of hands. You cannot do without wearing nose mask or face mask. You cannot do without using hand sanitizer. So these are things that we will respect holistically going forward. We have had discussions, and so far that is what we have agreed upon.
Henry Asantichu is the Communications Director of the Ghana Football Association.
Thank you very much, Hans. Enjoy the rest of the day. Time now for NSMQ. And I have good news. The all-girls team representing the Holy Child School at this year's National Science and Maths Quiz contestants are confident they will be the first girls' school to win the NSMQ trophy this year. They have qualified to the quarterfinals after beating Kintampo SHS and a seeded school Otibuating SHS.
Well, this contest was cool. It was fine. It was interesting. Very, yeah, and we hope to win the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and take the cup home.
You think you can win the trophy this year?
Oh yes, we think we can.
That'll be the first time a girls could be winning the trophy.
Very, very interesting. That will be.
We wish to get to the finals and win the trophy eventually, and then we know that the Lord is on our side. So no matter what, He'll be with us. Okay.
Like to compete within the quarterfinals.
No matter what we are winning. Thank you very much.
Wesley girls.
Oh, I don't care. I really do not care.
You really do not care?
Not at all.
What should we expect?
Oh, a win.
A win,
yes.
Okay, let me speak to your trainer now. Let me find out from him what he makes of the performance of the ladies. What do you make of the performance of the ladies?
I think they came prepared.
Maxwell Agbagba joins us now. Maxwell, happening now is the contest between Wesley Girls, Sunrise and Tema Methodist. How is that contest going?
Well, Emefa, Wesley Girls is, we can say, in an early and comfortable lead after round 2. Wesley Girls has 28 points. Sunrise SHS has 13 points. And then Tema Methodist SHS, they have 5 points. Many were those who gave Sunrise SHS a chance in this contest because they kicked out Opukuwa School in 2018 when they made their first appearance at the National Science and Maths Quiz. Many also thought Tema Methodist Day SHS will rise to the occasion because they have the highest scores in the Greater Accra region during the regional qualifiers. And it appears all of that does not matter on stage today.
Oh, well, and that's Maxwell Agbagba. We pray that Wesley Girls Senior High School continues to stay in that comfortable lead and win that contest. Remember, our coverage of the 2020 National Science and Maths Quiz is brought to you by Joy News, your most credible news channel, and supported by Bright SHS, Kuku and Tumi, building dreams and shaping the future. Adonko Next Level Energy Drink as well. Mapizzo weekend, it was what's in showbiz today.
All right, so over the weekend, the Ghana Woman of the Year's honors was held, and various women were, awarded for excelling in various industries. Faustina Safo was there and brought us this.
The Ghana Women of the Year honor seeks to celebrate women who are excelling and making an impact in various fields. This year, the likes of Ghana's first female chief of staff, Frema Osei-Opare, actress Nanama McBrown, media personality Bella Adade, were celebrated for their dedication to their various crafts. Receiving their awards, they urge women to persevere despite the challenges they may encounter in their various fields.
If you look at who have achieved, it's never on a silver platter. It's not because it was too difficult, but it's because they availed themselves and had in mind that they will want to do better for themselves. And it doesn't matter what challenges you meet. When you fall forward. You don't fall backward.
My 4 pillars for which I did, or what has brought me this far, is dedication, commitment, hard work, and perseverance.
There's a new mantra that is going. There's a new muse that is going. Women have realized that we can only get there once we support ourselves. There's no competition. There's no contest among ourselves. It's about, supporting women to get to the top.
Frema Osei-Opare was honored for her excellence in governance. Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Elsie Aduawaji, took home the corporate personality honors. Professor Rita Akosua-Dixon was honored for excellence in education. Others include Beatrice Ajiman Abe, excellence in media, Reverend Dr. Gifty Akushika Lamte, excellence in business, Nana Mamak Brown, excellence in creative arts, Bella Adade, youngster, and Her Excellency Judge Professor Ikuya Konyehia received the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Amelia read that report to us and now brings us business at one headline.
Yeah, and in business later on, Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana keeps policy rates unchanged at 14.5%, citing inflationary and economic growth risk.
Well, stay tuned at 1 for more on that. And that's it for the Midday News. You're on Joy 99.7 FM as we continue to celebrate 25 years of media excellence. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apawu. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil is up next after the break. You know that it's a new season for the African continent. It calls for a new generation of planters and builders. Join Pastor Mensa Otabil for part 2 of the message, It's Time to Plant and Build.
Look at you.